What's up, everyone? I'm Colby from Sanitarium Productions. Today we've got another exciting G.I. Joe toy review for you. Today, we've got the very awesome Silent Strike box set. This thing features a HISS tank, Skystriker, 4 figures. We have, let's see here, an Ace figure, Sightline, a HISS driver, and a HISS gunner. Very cool looking. Very cool looking set here. So the Skystriker has this very cool looking stealth pattern paint job, and the HISS tank is a kind of cool looking, not quite red, more of a kind of orangish color. So yeah, this is a cool looking box set. This is available at retail stores. Theoretically, you can find this anywhere right now. Very cool looking. This is basically the retail version of the SDCC exclusive set, which featured reversed paint jobs. So we had the Skystriker in the Cobra colors and the HISS tank in the G.I. Joe colors, and 4 different figures in that set. So this is another way to get another cool set, and this one is pretty awesome looking, so I'm actually looking forward to unboxing this thing and taking a look at it. So that is what we're fixing to do. We're going to go ahead and unbox this thing for y'all, assemble the jet and the HISS tank, take a look at the individual figures, and do a quick review for y'all. So stay tuned. Here is the Silent Strike box set. Very awesome artwork included. Nice window package here for the figures. The back of the box here. Pretty nice layout. Again, the traditional 50th anniversary packaging. Nothing special there. But yeah, overall very cool looking. It is a fairly large box, so we'll try to move things around so we can see everything, but this is kind of what we have to work with, so that's what we have. So let's go ahead and get this thing open. Turn it to the side here, and we'll just start on this end. There's a piece of tape right around this bottom edge, so we're simply going to slice that piece of tape open. And theoretically, the rest of this will just wiggle out. Reach in here and grab a hold of it, and the figures themselves slide out very easily. So we'll go ahead and slide them out to begin with. So here's the figure package. We'll come back to them, but there they are. Makes it much easier to grab a hold of. And then just pull on it. Everything comes out. And the box is now empty, so we'll recycle it when we get a chance. Here's everything we have in the box. Put the figures back in here momentarily. So the unboxed version. Let's see what we've got here, and we'll just start stacking it to the edge. So obviously we have the figure pack, so I'm going to set that to the side here. Flip this around so you can kind of see everything. I'll start stacking it over here. So accessory kit for the Skystriker, canopy for the HISS tank, wing attachments for the Skystriker, the main body of the HISS tank. The main body for the Skystriker. The canopy for the Skystriker. The gun turret for the HISS tank. The main fuselage, I guess, or the front end of the Skystriker. The tank treads for the HISS tank. And then got some holes punched in the bottom of this. All the documentation, file cards, stickers are over here in their own little package here. And that's everything that's in the box. So that can now go to be recycled as well. Here's all the pieces laid out, more or less. So yeah, that's everything that comes with this thing. So pretty cool. 2 vehicles, 4 figures. We'll go ahead and zoom in on these things individually now and start taking a look at them. We'll unbag all the accessories and build the Skystriker and the HISS tank, and then we'll take a look at the figures individually too. So to begin with, we are going to go ahead and open up our accessory documentation package. A single piece of tape holds this in place. So we have file cards to begin with. These are all pretty much standard what we've seen in the rest of the 50th anniversary line, so no surprise here. So each figure has 2 cards, and each card has 2 sides, so we get 4 different variations of the file card. So HISS tank driver here to begin with, also known as Nombre Clave. I guess that means code name. So Artillerio de Tanky. Artillerio de Blandados. I'm butchering these, I'm sure. Conductor de Char. Tank driver. So pretty cool. And we've got the wait, there's another one. Another tank driver. Okay, I was mistaken here. So we have the tank driver, which has the figure picture on the left, and then we've got the actual artillery gunner, which he's facing. So the tank driver is facing the right. The tank artillery person is facing the left. So yeah, other than that, the file cards look the same. So cool. Moving on. We've got Ace. And we've got Sightline. Cool. I should point out that as far as Sightline goes, he is kind of a new character. So I don't know too much about him, but anyway. Alright, then let's go look at the rest of this stuff. So we've got stickers here. The HISS tank stickers. I'll try to get a close-up scan of these for y'all to include. We've got a single sticker here for our Skystriker, which is a little odd. These are usually part of everything else, but for some reason this one's by itself. Then taking a look at the stickers again, we've got these really big sheet for the Skystriker, which has this same jet intake. Slightly reversed over here, which is a little weird, so I really don't know what this one's for. But anyways, and then we've got the other big sheet of Skystriker stickers, and this one has a lot of stickers on it, so it's really cool looking. A nice little wolf over here that's breathing fire, so it's kind of cool. And then we have the blueprints here. And I'll try to get a scan of these so y'all can see it, but on one side we've got the Skystriker, and on the other side the HISS tank. So yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm just looking right now to see if there's any mention of that secondary intake jet thing. And I'm not seeing it anywhere. So I don't know. If anybody has any clear idea of why we have an extra one of those, you can let me know. Post a comment down below. But yeah, so there's all the stickers and documentation and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and just unbag all of the accessory pieces and parts and stuff so we can have an easier time of building this different vehicles. So I'm just going to start here with this main piece of the HISS tank. And it's fairly simple, fairly straightforward, like the rest of the HISS tanks, but it does have this nice orange color, which is kind of cool. It's different anyway, so that's the only thing that's in this particular bag. This is the tank treads for the HISS tank. Pretty straightforward. Nice detail work on the little wheels and gears and things in there. But pretty much what we have come to expect out of this. So. The turret system for the HISS tank. Pretty cool looking. The gun does raise and lower, so nice. Screw that holds it in place for that thing. Yeah. The canopy attachment for the HISS tank. This nice translucent, more of a peach color than orange, but you can see what they're trying to go for here anyways. Time to build the HISS tank. This thing is fairly straightforward. There's not a lot of pieces to it, so should go fairly quickly and fairly smoothly. Step one is to attach the tank treads to the actual tank part itself. So we've got the main base here. We're going to flip it over. Then we've got the actual tank treads itself. What you're going to want to do, you're going to line up this funky end. So the narrow end of the tank treads goes to the back. And they've got these little tabby things here that will line up with the back of the vehicle as well. So the place that has the foot pegs. And then in the front, you've got this long bar piece. And it actually just fits into this cavity right here. So we're going to start by just lining everything up. So the small end of the tank treads go to the back. And you're going to put this in first. So just go ahead and just line it up and just slip it in like that. And then essentially everything else will just line up and you just press down on the back. So we'll flip this around so y'all can see. Those tabby things should line straight up with those tab openings that we have here on the back. And you just want to press down until it snaps in place like that. And that's pretty much it for attaching the tank treads. Rather loud actually, but now it rolls. So steps 2 and 3 have already been done for us. But they are how you attach the main gun to the turret seat. And I'll just kind of point out right here that the way that the instructions have this working is not the way it actually works, which is probably why they did it for you. In the instructions it has just a couple of tabs holding the gun in place, and then it just fits into a notch up here in the front. But it looks like they redesigned it after they made the instructions for it. So they have this screw here that holds these two pieces together kind of in a clamping kind of situation. But yeah, it's done for you, so that's pretty much it. So steps 2 and 3 are done. Step 4 is to attach the canopy to the main HISS tank. So we're going to flip this over so we can get access to it. And we've got the canopy here. Let's move this out of the way so we can get in here. So there is this bar piece here on the back that fits into these little notches here on the front of the HISS tank. And all you really have to do is just kind of line this up and just push in on it. And it just snaps in place like that. And you just press down and it locks into place. And then up and then down. I will point out that this particular plastic that they're using for this translucent canopy is kind of flimsy, so it kind of bends a little bit here at this attachment point, so you want to be careful and watch out for that in the future. If you open it too hard, it is going to flex on you and potentially it could break at some point. Shouldn't have any problems to begin with, but later on down the line that may cause an issue, so just be aware of it. But once it's in place, it actually looks really cool. Looks really nice. So step 5 is to attach the turret to the main hull. So basically this piece here will be sliding in here. If you'll notice, there are these 3 cavities or notches put in place around this circular opening, and on the bottom of our turret itself there are also these 3 tabs. So you'll eventually just have to line these tabs up to these openings and notches, and then it just drops straight in, and there's enough of a gap between these tabs so that it will rotate around. So The easiest way to do this is basically just turn the gun like so. So the far corner on the driver's side rear, point your guns towards that position, then everything kind of falls in place, and then you just turn it to lock it, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's in there and not going anywhere. So this thing will rotate all the way around. So you can face it whichever way you like it to be facing. If it's a rear gun or if it's a forward facing gun, whichever. Then it does rotate up enough so that if you want to open up the canopy, you can still do that with the gun facing forward. So there's nothing really inhibiting anything right there. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to assemble this thing. And it looks really cool, so yeah, pretty awesome. The final step for the HISS tank is just to add all the stickers, and I'll throw a slide in here so you can see the sticker placement and everything like that, but I'm going to skip that for the sake of time right now anyways. But yeah, last thing is just add the stickers. Then just taking a look at the actual features itself. You've got your rotating turret system. It does rotate 360 degrees. Does elevate the guns, and then the canopy at the front opens as well. And you've got room for one figure inside here. And it's got some pretty nice detail work going on in there, so very cool. The gun turret itself has room for one figure, and then on the rear you've got 2 foot pegs, so you can add 2 additional figures on the back. So that brings us to a grand total of 4. Sorry, you can put 4 figures on this thing and go into battle with it. So very cool. It also does roll pretty well, actually. Very nice. Again, a lot of really nice detail work here. For some size comparison shots, we've got 25th anniversary beachhead. As you can see here, the tank is actually fairly large in comparison. So almost 2 figures tall to the top of the gun. And then, let's see how we can do this. 1, 2, about 3 figures long. So, pretty cool. All in all, a really nice vehicle. The orange color is kind of understated. It's not like a bright orange or anything like that. So, it's definitely unique. I think it'll fit in pretty well with the rest of the HISS armory. So, yeah, cool beans. This is the front end of the Skystriker. Let's cut the tape on this thing and take a look at it. Pretty cool looking. Some nice detail work on the inside here. That's the front end. The canopy for the Skystriker. Pretty cool looking. It is a nice kind of transparent red. You can kind of see through it a little bit here. And you hit it with the light right, and you can see through it anyways. Yeah, so when you look through it like kind of like this, it's kind of a pink color. But when you add the two together, it's definitely red. So that's kind of a cool effect there. It does have a little bit of, I don't know if that's grease or what that is, but you'll probably want to clean that off at some point. It is kind of weird, but I guess they do that just to keep it from getting scratched in transit and things like that. So yeah, you'll probably want to buff that out real quick. This is the main body of the Skystriker. Got some nice paint apps pre-applied, and they're using this kind of weird marbly plastic, which is kind of interesting, and it's kind of distracting a little bit as well. But it's definitely different. I don't know how well this is picking up, but yeah, there's some weird marbly effects going on just in parts of it. So like right here and right here, I don't really see anything much else majorly. A little bit up here at the front, but these side pieces aren't affected nearly as much as these two middle pieces. But at any rate, they pretty much already got your landing gear applied. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and play with the release mechanism. We're not going to, but yeah, that's the main body. This is the small accessory kit for the Skystriker. Let's see what we got. So we've got the two rear fins. This nice gray color and some red painted apps on the top. And then we've got the two engine hatch covers. So, and here's the large accessory kit for the Skystriker. Try to keep this stuff from going everywhere. Alright, so we have here the two engines and a nice gray and silver paint apps, which are pretty cool looking. Keep them from running off perhaps. Maybe not. We've got the big bomb missile thing. Some nice detail work on it as well. Two of these larger cone missiles. Two of these small cone missiles. And then two of these medium-sized cone missiles. And I think I did this last time. We about forgot that there were three sizes of missiles and then the big bomb here. So there are three different sizes, as you can see here. Then we have the rear fin pieces. The small wings that go on the back is what those are. And then we have the two larger wing pieces. So there's everything that comes with that accessory kit. Now that we've looked at all the individual pieces, it's time to actually start assembling the Skystriker. Step one is to attach the main body to the front end. So essentially the way this works is the front end here has this square cavity in it, and the main body has this square piece right here that has this weird tab piece on the top and bottom, as you can see. So really all you do is you just line this up, the front end, with that, and just snap it in place, and that's all there is to it, really. Just make sure that your seat is facing up, so towards the red highlights. So match up red with red. There's no red on the bottom here, so red with red, and you'll have your orientation correct. But then you just basically just put it on the cavity like this, and just press back. And for some reason, there we go. And just snap it in place. And that's all there is to it for attaching it. And as you can see, it's kind of long when you do that. So I'm going to probably readjust my camera just a little bit so we can get the entire thing in the shot. But step 1 is complete. Step 2 is to attach the canopy to the front end. So we have the canopy here. And the way it works is on the rear of the canopy, you've got these 2 little tab looking things. But on them, you've also got these round nubs on the outside of them, and that's kind of your pivot points for when it attaches here. Yeah, so you just take this little pointy thing, and it just lines up just past the edge of your ejector seat here. There's a little cavity right there, and you just line these up and just press down on them, and it snaps in place. And you just fold it forward, and it should latch down. You may have to push on it like that until you hear the snap, but that's pretty much all there is to it. Then this raises, lowers, and doesn't snap in place very well. I think that's one of the problems we had with the Crimson Skystrikers, that sometimes that canopy piece is a little loose, but that's how it works, and it actually looks really cool. Very nice looking. So step 3 is to attach the wings, and in order to do that, what you would want to do first is actually lower your landing gear. So the lever in the middle that activates everything, you want to press it towards the rear of the plane, and that pushes these pieces out, which is what we want to get to attach the wings. And at the same time, it also lowers the landing gear. So now that the landing gear is down, it'll sit flat, and we can attach our wings. Now you've got 2 of these wings, one for each side. And if you'll notice on them, they are kind of keyed separately. So you can only put them in the correct spot. You won't be able to put them in the wrong spot. If you look real close, you've got this little L thing, really tiny L thing, that's in a different place on each of these. So on this one it's closer to the back part, and on this one it's closer to the front part. So you're only going to be able to line those up in the one specific spot, so you won't be able to do this incorrectly even if you try. And all you have to do here is just basically take this over to the side, and there are these grooves that line up with this, and you just line them up and just press in on them until they snap into place, and voila, that's all there is to it. And you flip it around and do the other side the same way. Again, the little L's will keep you from putting them in the wrong spot, but just line everything up into the little groovy thing, and then just press in on it. And don't do that. So sometimes you have to push a little harder than you think. If that's the case, that's fine. You're not going to hurt anything. Just keep wiggling on it and pressing in it until it latches on. I have no idea why it's this hard. It shouldn't be. So I'm going to try it again. The other one went in without any problem, so I don't know. But it is something to be looking out for, is the fact that it is kind of difficult to get in there sometimes. My landing gear keep popping off on me, so tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to push them down so that I don't have to worry about pushing against them. There we go, and press that one in. And try to press this back in. There we go. And it snaps in place. So if you're having problems, fold your landing gear up, then reattach the wing. As you can see, it should be flush when you're finished. So that's what you got to do. Step 4 is to add the rear wing flaps, I guess is what you call them. So we have 2 of these, and they are set to go on only one way. They have these little ridge places on them. So essentially what you'll have to do is you line up on the rear the tab openings with this thing here, and you just slap them in place like that until they lock. And you'll hear them snap like you just did. And that's pretty much all you have to do to those. So there's one on that side and one on the other side. And normally they just snap right in place, but for some reason this one's being weird. I guess it went in. The rear looks like it sticks out a little bit more than I would like, but I can't force it in anymore, so it must be in place. So that's pretty much it. Step 5 is to add the rear spoilers. I guess they're air spoilers or whatever, the fins that go on the back. So we have 2 of those. They're the ones with the red tips on them. And if you'll look closely at them from the side, you'll notice they have, one side has this little raised area, the other side does not. And that raised area lines up with the little cutout on this rear piece. Hopefully you can see that okay. So basically if you try to put them in the wrong spot, they won't fit. So you don't have to worry about messing it up. Just line up that little extra little outcropping and just snap them in place. And it fits in there pretty snugly. There's no snap on this one. You can feel it kind of give once it goes in place correctly. Do the same thing for the other side. Just kind of line those up and press down and you're good to go. Step 6 is to add the engines themselves. So we've got 2 of these engines and they are identical as best I can tell. So you don't have to worry about putting them on the wrong side or anything, because they're go on either side. So, if you'll find the rear, you've got these two openings, and I don't know how the best way is to show you this, but there are two openings in the back, one on each side, and you just take these and just slide them straight in, and they just fit in there like that. And that's pretty much all there is to it. If you will note on these things, you've got two little nubs that stick up. I usually make those horizontal to line up with this part of the wing. There's no real reason for that. I'm just doing it. So it could go up and down for all I know. But I'm doing it following that line. So, but again, you just kind of line it up, stick it in there, and just slide it straight in. There's not a whole lot holding it in place other than just friction. So no notches or anything like that. But they look pretty cool once they're in place. Step 7 is all the missiles. So theoretically, this is a whole lot easier if you don't have these rear fins on. So I'm actually just going to pop them off for the time being. And we'll reattach them here in a couple minutes. But I don't know, you would think they would think this stuff out a little bit further. I'm giving you the direction so that you're working on a flat surface instead of a slightly raised surface. So anyways, we're popping these off. And I'm going to flip this thing upside down. And I popped off one of these things. I'll fix it later. Anyways, looking at the missiles themselves, we're going to start with this one big missile. And so there is just this kind of bar here in the center of the missile itself with a couple of notches cut into it. It will just line up with this center holder thing. So you just basically just line it up, turn it up, and just press down on it to put it in place. And it just snaps in there like that. No big deal. I usually make sure that the little nose cone that has some detail on it, if you look at it real close, it's got a little bit different detail work than the other end. I usually make sure that's pointing forward just to get your orientation, but I guess it doesn't really matter all that much, but that's the way I do it. Then we have these two larger missiles. They will fit on the wings themselves, or the little outcropping of the wing itself. Again, these are identical, so it doesn't matter which side they go on. They're held in place by this dumbbell thing that's pretty standard for all of these G.I. Joe lines. And you'll find a little dumbbell holder on the side. So you just line up the holder and press down. And it latches on there like that. Again, make sure that the nose cone points towards the front of the plane, unless for some reason you want some rear missiles, in which case you're perfectly welcome to turn them that way. But if we're shooting them forward, nose cone goes forward. And these fit on there pretty snugly. Some of the other ones we've had in the past don't fit snugly, so when you turn it upside down it has a tendency to fall off. But these fit on there pretty well, and you can see I can actually pick up on the plane with it, so those shouldn't be going anywhere. Moving on, we have these medium-sized missiles. Two of them as well. They're identical, so it doesn't matter which side they go on. And again, face the nose cone towards the front. These get placed pretty much lining up with the wheels. And again, they're held in place by these little dumbbell attachment points. So just line them up and just press down on it, and they snap into place pretty easily. One on each side. And again, they seem to be holding in place pretty well. So they should not be falling off too easily either, which is a good thing. Then the last two missiles we have are the smaller sized ones. Again, there are two of these and they're identical, so it doesn't matter which one. And again, they have the dumbbell holder on them, so just match the dumbbell holder up with the dumbbell attachment point and press down on them. And they should latch in pretty easily. And once again, these are pretty snug, so they're not going to come off easily, which is a very good thing for us. So very awesome. And there you have all your missiles in place. The last pieces that we have are the engine covers. There are two of them. They will fit on... I just broke another wing. Anyways, they will fit on the front here where you see the actual engines underneath. And the good thing about these is that they are molded to only fit on one side or the other, not both sides. So pretty easy to not put them on the wrong place. They have simple tabs on them. So there are tab holders on the front or on the side towards the cockpit. So you just line those up and then just press down and it snaps in place just like that. Same thing for the other side. Just line those tabs up with the tab holder and press down and it snaps into place. And now I'm going to fix the wing real quick. If I can do this without it tearing up. Perfect. I also had attached the rear fins that had fallen off before, so that's pretty much it. Our jet plane is now complete. The only other thing to do would be to add stickers here, and I'll get you a scan of them so you can see about placement, but I don't usually put the stickers on right now. I'll wait a little while for that, but that's another story altogether. Our Skystriker is now fully assembled, so it's time to look at the features. So as we looked at earlier, it does have these two removable engine hatch covers. So your guys can get in there and do repair work if you need to, or you can simulate battle damage if you like it that way better. Got an opening canopy in the front. Room in the cockpit for one figure. It's got a really nicely detailed cockpit area. Lots of cool detail work in there. Unfortunately, it does not have an ejector seat or a parachute like the original, but it's still a pretty nice little cockpit. Then if we flip this thing over, hopefully, you can see all the missiles on it. So it's got 6 regular missiles and one big, huge bay bomb door thingy, which is pretty cool. So you can fire those at will and destroy enemy vessels and things like that with them. It also has these cool landing gears that are on here. The wheels on here are a hard plastic. They're not rubber, but it's okay. It still looks really cool. Not as cool as the actual rubber, but you know, cost savings and things like that, so not a big deal. This thing does roll pretty easily. That's always nice. And then the main action feature that we have is the way that the actual wings collapse. So you've got this lever here in the back. You press it forward, the wings fold up, and the landing gear also fold up at the same time. So this is like fly and attack mode. You pull back on the lever, the wings spread out, and the landing gear fold out. So it's landing mode or regular mode or however you want to look at it. But it's a really cool action feature. It's a nice pullover from the original Skystriker. And let's turn this thing upside down so you can see the way these wheels work. So I press forward, the landing gear collapse in on themselves, you pull back on it and they retract. So it's a very cool little feature there. Works really nicely. As far as scale goes, we've got our handy dandy 25th anniversary beachhead figure here that we use for most all of our size comparisons. And as you can see, it's a fairly large vehicle compared to the figure itself. So from wingtip to wingtip, which y'all can't see the entire thing, but let's just go for the sake of argument. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, more or less, 5, about 6 figures wide with the wings fully extended. And from nose tip to the back of the plane, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, about 5.5 figures long. So very cool, very big, works very well. As far as the cockpit goes, the figures themselves fit in here fairly easily. It's got a nice big roomy cockpit. You just stick their legs in there and just press them back into place and fold their arms down. And they fit in here without any problem. No worries whatsoever there. It does only have room for 1 figure, unfortunately. So you just have to plan your battles accordingly. I know the original one had room for 2, but it was a slightly different design. But still, it's a very awesome vehicle. Very cool looking. It fits in nicely with the 25th anniversary line and the subsequent releases from the Rise of Cobra all the way through Pursuit of Cobra and the new 50th anniversary line, which this is a part of. So yeah, it's pretty impressive. The slight gray matte with some of this marbling going on, it's a pretty cool effect. The marbling isn't that apparent, and it's growing on me a little bit more as I've been putting this one together. It stood out a little bit at first, but it's really not noticeable now that I've kind of gotten used to it. So yeah, overall it's a pretty awesome looking vehicle. It's nice to have this kind of stealth gray color. And now it's time to look at the figures included with this pack. This is a pretty cool looking pack here, actually. So we've got Ace and Sightline and the Hiss driver and the Hiss gunner. Pretty cool looking. We'll go ahead and just remove these from the package itself, and then we'll do a close-up look at all the individual figures, but we'll just start unboxing these things real quick. It's nice that they kind of put the figure stands over here to the side. So we've got the 2 Cobra ones, and these figure stands are the regular 50th anniversary ones that we're used to. They have the raised faction logo on the top, and it's painted in that nice metallic gold color. Then you've got the code names on the side, and it looks like all these have 2 of these pegs on them. Some of the earlier releases only had like a single peg, so that sometimes makes it hard to put them on the stand, but all these have 2 holders, so we're good on all that. So set those to the side. Same thing for Ace and Sightline. They've got the raised G.I. Joe logo and the code names. So pretty cool. Nice way to start. And so far we haven't ran into any rubber bands on these things, which some of our other figure releases that we've seen, they go crazy with those rubber bands. So it's nice to know that that's not happening here. So as far as some of these accessories go, you've got a lot of duplication here, so we'll look at that. Basically what I'm saying is it doesn't really matter which of these accessories go with them. Figure out which ones you like with the figures you like and use them that way. There's not really any assigned seating for the accessories. We do have the Cobra faction at the bottom and the Joe faction at the top, but no big deal there. You can mix and match to your heart's content. So this is the gunner for the HISS tank, which is basically the same as the HISS driver. The only difference is the leg pieces here. So the driver has these nice round leggings, and the gunner has this kind of armored look, which halfway makes sense. If he's up there exposed to everything, he might need a little bit extra armor padding and things like that. And we got this chest piece here for the gunner. Pretty cool looking pistol. Fairly large looking assault rifle. A revolver. And another revolver that just went flying across the room. I'll pick that up in a second. Moving on to the Joes up here. We've got Sightline over here. Just looking at this one up first off, it's a pretty cool looking sculpt here. Some nice reuse of some of the previous figures, but it actually looks pretty cool. I really like the color scheme they got going on here. Just some subtle highlights of red and just a couple of key points here. So this is a really cool looking figure. We'll come back to him and do a closer review here in a little while, but I like what I'm seeing so far. And then we have Ace. Again, this is a pretty nice looking figure here. This gray and red just for some reason works really well. Not too crazy about the color of his skin tone here. It looks kind of orange to me, almost kind of actually it's green, but still, it works. And again, with the accessories, there's a lot of them on here, so feel free to mix and match however you like. We got this cool looking parachute. That's probably going to go with Ace. We've got a cool little submachine gun, a cool pistol, this cool long sniper rifle, come out, a shovel that doesn't want to come out. There we go. A nice looking spade shovel thing. A cool looking little laptop thing. The radio and the knife all have a piece of tape on them, so we're going to use our X-Acto knife to cut that tape. So, really cool looking little radio. And this nice little boot knife. And then the last piece is the helmet, which is pretty cool looking. So that goes with Ace. And that is all the figures and accessories that we have, minus the one extra revolver that went flying across the room that we'll pick up here in a minute. But yeah, overall, pretty cool looking set. So we'll go ahead and zoom in now and take a closer look at these individually. Up first, we have the HISS tank driver, or HISS driver, depending on how you want to look at it. But so first off, it is a very nice looking orange color. Kind of a dull hunter orange kind of thing, which is a nice change of pace from the traditional red that we've seen in the past. And it does look really nice. It's got some nice gray highlights, silverish, some black. So overall the whole thing looks really nicely. And his chest piece armor has the nice gold Cobra logo on it. Not exactly center, but it's close enough. So, articulation wise, head rotates 360 degrees, up and down, so pretty cool. Shoulder articulation, swivel and hinge. You've also got swivel and hinge at the elbows. This one's a little stiff, but that's to be expected coming straight out of the package. Then you also have swivel at the wrist. It doesn't look like they have the extra articulation at the wrist, so it's just a swivel. No big deal there. Then the waist or ab feature is present, and it works really well, even though this big chest piece is on there. It's not really hurting anything. It's not limiting motion whatsoever. Then you've got the hip articulation standard. The web gear that we've got here is not really limiting anything either, so that's nice. You've got a double knee joint, and you've got the swivel and rocker at the ankle. So all the standard articulation points we're expecting out of these things nowadays. Very nice detail work on this thing. It looks really cool. Accessory wise, we've got a big revolver that fits in his hand fairly easily. So he can go shooting people in the Old West if you need to. Then he's got this cool looking little pistol machine gun thing. I'm not a fan of these dual grip things. They just never work really well on figures. But luckily on this one, the actual pistol grip itself is at the back, so it's pretty easy to get it to fit in his hand. I say that and then I can't get it to go on there. There we go. And it works pretty well. We've had problems in the past where you can't really just get them to grip too well, those weird handled pistols, but in this particular case, no problem. So yeah, overall it's a pretty cool figure. I really like the overall design of this HISS tank driver, and the orange color scheme works pretty well. So yeah, it's pretty solid. Up next is the HISS Tank Gunner. So this is essentially the same figure as the HISS Tank Driver. So no big surprises here. Really the only changes are in the leg pieces here. And instead of the kind of gray and black roundy bits, we've got more of the armor plating on this, which again does make sense if he is an actual gunner. He's going to be a little bit more exposed, so he'll need a little bit more protection. So it's nice that they thought ahead of that. Articulation wise, it's again the same figures we just looked at, so same articulation. No surprises here whatsoever. But we'll just run through them again just to make sure. And again, his wrist is only the swivel and not the rocker as well. Hips, double knee joints, swivel, and rocker. So yeah, all the standard articulation points were, again, it's the same figure as we had before, so it's not a surprise whatsoever there. So this one comes pre-packaged with his armor removed. So you can either leave him like this, or you can just put the armor on. Armor on. The armor itself has this nice little singular attachment point here. So this little strap with the peg on it. So you just take that off, slide it on his arm like so. Like so. Put it over top of his head. Or in this case, I'm actually going to pop his head off to make this easier. Then pop his head back on. And his armor is in place. It's a little tricky to get in here to reattach that with that little peg hole thing, but it's not too bad. I've seen much worse. It does kind of make me wish, though, that they had included the armor on the figure itself, but I guess they're trying to make sure that you differentiate the two figures and don't get them confused. There we go. So, not too bad to get it back on there. And he does look really cool with that armor in place, so yeah, it's worth putting it back on there. This one, the emblem is a little bit more centered than on the driver. I guess they just misprinted some of them, which is understandable. You can't get it all perfect, I guess. Accessory wise, we have the same revolver that the other figure came with. So we'll stick it in his hand right there. And then he's got this really larger sized pulse rifle looking thing. And we'll stick that in his other hand. And again, this one has that weird double handle point, which I'm not a fan of, but luckily he can grab hold of it really easily and there's no problem with it. So yeah, that works pretty well. Detail work is pretty spot on. It's again a nice looking figure. So if you like the HISS Tank driver itself, the gunner pretty much is the same figure, so it works really well. I don't have any problem with it. I like these figures for some reason, so yeah, cool. The next figure is Captain Ace. Or just Ace in this case. Either way, it's a cool looking figure. Again, it's got some nice highlights here. We've seen the base figure before. I can't actually remember which figure we saw this with. but still, it's a nice looking figure. It's got some nice detail work. Flipping them over to look at the back. Really pretty cool looking. Articulation wise, his head rotates and goes up and down, so pretty much what we're used to there. He's got his shoulder articulation, so rocker and swivel, and then at the elbow, again, rocker and swivel. At the wrist, we've just got the single swivel, no rocker, but it's okay. It still works. Then the ab crunch feature is in place and works pretty well, actually. Then the hip joint is what we're used to here. You'll notice he's got this crazy parachute-y web gear stuff on, so that slightly hampers his leg movement, but barely. I'm actually really surprised at how well his legs do articulate even with that web gear on there. Then he's got the double knee joint and the rocker and swivel at the ankle. So, yep, standard articulation that we're used to. We can get his foot to bend. So, very cool looking. Accessory wise, we have this really cool looking helmet. I think the helmet looks pretty much like the same one I think the Lampreys came with. Anyways, it fits on his head pretty easily, and actually looks pretty cool with it on there, so that's pretty awesome. Some really good detail work on that, and it's nice that they've got that kind of translucent red, same as the cockpit for the Skystriker, so pretty cool there. He does come with a small little pistol, and lucky for us, on his left shin, he's actually got a holster for the pistol, which, as I've stated before, I love it when they include things like that. So we'll go ahead and stick that in there, and it fits in there really well, and it's not coming out, so very cool looking. He also comes with this cool small assault rifle, minigun kind of thing. Fits in his hand without any problem, so very cool. The other accessory he has is this parachute pack, which has a single peg on it to wrap it around. So we'll go ahead and do that real quick. Just goes around his waist. And lucky for us, this thing attaches really easily, unlike the problem we were having with the HISS gunner. That parachute pack fits in really easily and snaps in place, so no problems attaching it whatsoever. So yeah, this is actually a very cool figure. We got a couple of different versions of Ace already, and I really didn't think we needed another one, but this one is unique enough to make sense to me, and it's overall a really good figure. So I'm actually surprised at how well I like this figure. So yeah, this is pretty cool. And on the side, you do have the G.I. Joe emblem in gray. In gold. I don't know if we can pick up on that very easily or not, but it's there. So very cool looking. So yeah, overall, I actually like this figure. The only thing I'm not thrilled about is the fact that his head, the paint job on it does look a little green to me. Really kind of an orangish green. Just not a really good skin tone. But I think I had the same problem with Chuckles for the Desert Duel set. I don't know if they just got off on their paint colors or what when they're doing the dyes for this thing, but essentially the same color as that Chuckles had, so yeah. But with his helmet on, you won't notice it anyway, so we're going to stick his helmet on so we don't notice it. So yeah, very cool figure. The last figure here is Sightline. Again, I'm not all that familiar with this character. He essentially is a new character to me, so we're going to treat him as such. I guess he's kind of like a spotter or something, because in the actual Skystriker, there's not room for 2 figures, so he's going to be a ground trooper. All that aside, it's a pretty awesome looking figure, I have to say. This is a really awesome looking sculpt. A lot of really awesome detail work on his web gear, and just all around everywhere. It's crazy that this figure looks as good as it does. And I don't know why but it works. This nice kind of gray camo pattern with the little red highlights. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, let's take a look here. So the head rotates and up and down motion, so no problem there. Shoulder joints, ball and swivel. Ball and swivel at the elbow joint. Try to keep this thing in focus for y'all. And luckily for us, at the wrist we have the swivel, and we also have the additional rocker joint on this thing. So he has the double articulation on his wrists. So +1 for Sightline. Then we look at the actual ab crunch feature. It is present, but you can't really tell it too much because of the web gear. But it is still there and it does still work. So I'm actually surprised about that. It usually doesn't work that well, but it does here. So then hip standard articulation, got a double knee joint, and rocker swivel crazy one here, ball joint at the ankle. So if you can see that there, it's not the traditional one that we're used to. It's more of a all-around swivel joint that goes back and forth in all sorts of different directions. So that's actually pretty cool. So yeah, very cool articulation. Again, the detail work on this figure is pretty amazing. We'll start over here on the side. So as far as accessories go, he does have a holster on his side that includes a pistol. So very cool looking. And again, I've said it before, I love the fact that they have holsters for pistols when you can. It's these little things that just make these for me. So that's nice that they included that. Moving on to the rest of his accessories, we do have the little bitty radio that has the little peg point on it. But unfortunately, there's not really any place to actually peg this radio in on the figure itself that I can find. And I did look, and I'm looking again, but there's nowhere to actually attach that, so that's probably going to get lost pretty easily for most people. So I don't know, you'll have to figure out something for that. Moving on to his gun, he does have this really cool looking sniper rifle. It fits into his hand fairly easily. And like so. So that's nice. He also has this crazy laptop case thing that does open. Nice detail work in there. It's got this crazy stand looking thing on it. So I don't know if that's meant to attach to something else or what that is. I'm sure there's a reason there's a little notch in there. If anybody happens to know why that's there, post a comment in the section below. Let us know. I have no clue. But cool that they have a little laptop. He also has this little knife. And also, luckily for us, if you flip him over on the back in his web gear, there is a holster for that knife on his back. So that will just slide in right there. Kind of have to wiggle it around to get it to go in there a little bit, but it fits and goes in just like so. So I like that. That's pretty awesome. Then his other accessory is this cool spade shovel thing. The only downside about this figure is that he can't carry all these accessories with him, unfortunately. So maybe you can get one of the other backpacks from like a loose low light or something like that and let him use it. That's really my only gripe about this figure whatsoever. It is an awesome looking figure, so if you take these accessories out of the equation, the figure itself is a solid 10. I may be in the minority here, but I just really like this figure. So, yeah, very cool looking. I'm really impressed. Here are all the figures together side by side for comparison. Sightline, Ace, the Hiss Gunner, and the Hiss Driver. All in all, a very cool set. Nice that you get this many figures in this particular set. It's a shame that the actual Skystriker only holds one figure. But overall, very cool looking. So just for comparison wise, I've also got our handy dandy Beachhead figure from the 25th anniversary line. So you can see that they are all in scale. No big surprises with any of that. And just overall, it's a really nice set. The figures complement each other nicely. It's cool that they did reuse the same sculpt for the two Hiss characters. Be nice to have a little bit more variation between the gunner and the driver of the Hiss tank, but if you're going to try to save money, it's a great way to do it, and it works really well. So very cool. We don't often get the Hiss gunner, so this is nice. So here we have everything that comes in the set. We have the very cool Hiss tank, the new stealth mode Skystriker, the four figures, the Hiss tank driver, Hiss tank gunner, Ace, and Sightline. So you can kind of see scale-wise how everything looks. The Skystriker is pretty big. The Hiss tank is no slouch either. And then the regular figures that come with it. So yeah, this is a really cool set, and I'm really happy with this thing. So if you haven't had a chance yet, I would say pick it up. So go get it. So that's it for our review of the G.I. Joe 50th Anniversary Silent Strike box set. All in all, you get a really awesome Skystriker and this really nice stealth mode paint job scheme thing. Pretty cool Hiss tank in a new orange color. Four pretty awesome figures. Hiss tank driver, a Hiss tank gunner, Sightline, and Ace. And yeah, these are pretty awesome figures. So I would probably say it's worthwhile to pick this thing up just for those figures. But in addition, you also get the very awesome Skystriker and the pretty cool Hiss tank. So if you haven't already, you can probably get this one pretty cheap. It's still in most stores. So feel free to go out there and try to find it on clearance or whatever. It is a little bit of a high price tag, but you do get a very nice assortment here. So it's not completely out of the realm of unaffordability or however you want to look at it. So 4 figures and 2 awesome vehicles, not a bad price. So yeah, what can I say? It's a pretty awesome set. The orange Hiss tank is a little odd, but the actual orange figures, they kind of grow on me, so they're pretty awesome. And for some reason, the Sightline figure is probably the best of the set, even though he doesn't really fit in with the rest of these. There's only room in the Skystriker for 1 figure, so you can kind of mix and match if you want, but still, it's a cool set. So that's pretty much all the time we've got for today, so thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to our channel below. Feel free to give us a thumbs up if you like us. Tell your friends about us. We always use free publicity, so let us know. If there's anything you'd like to see in future episodes, drop us a line. Tell us what you'd like to see, and if I can make it happen, I'll see what I can do. So that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and until next time, happy hunting, and yo Joe.